Hello. Welcome to our second installment of conversations here at Homecoming. I want this to be a space where we can talk about, share ideas, explore different ways of thinking about pregnancy, birth, motherhood, and all that comes along with that piece of the journey. And today I want to talk about the possibilities of postpartum and the changing dynamics in the future of families based on and through the lens of my own experience over the last 9 months, almost 10 months. So I think this is going to be a quick little transmission, but I wanted to share it because it keeps coming up for me and it keeps percolating and integrating, and it feels like a really important time to talk about this sort of stuff. So postpartum, if you've experienced it before, or you've heard it talked about, or you've seen it in movies, or, all of the depictions that we see of postpartum are typically fairly grim and fairly, really talked about with alongside like postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, and these sorts of things that can happen within this postpartum period. And now I'm of the belief is that if we take care of our bodies and our beings during the pregnancy period, support ourselves through the birth in the way that our bodies want to be supported, and then also do the same within the postpartum period, we can significantly lessen, if not totally get rid of these types of things that can affect us so deeply within the postpartum period, because we typically in our culture are rushing to the next stage. We're rushing to get our bodies back. We're rushing to get back to work. We're rushing to figure out what's happening with our baby. We're rushing to get back into our relationship. And we often kind of miss out on the beauty and the sanctity of this beautiful part of the journey. And in the way that I gave birth last time, so with my second birth, my second pregnancy, I had a free birth, which was sort of the plan. I mean, it was the plan, but it wasn't something that I, had been, I'm not some radical woman who you might think of that's just out there like, well, I got to have a free birth and I don't want anybody, this sort of thing. But I really did want to have a natural and non-invasive pregnancy and birth. And it transpired into a beautiful pregnancy and a wonderful, quiet, calm, free birth at my home with my family, my daughter and my husband here. So what that kind of moved into was a calm and beautiful postpartum period as well. It was just us when our daughter was born, and it was just us for the days after. And I think that was really important in the way that everything started to unravel, in the way that my body healed, in the way that we integrated as a family. My husband was able to take paternity leave, and I work from home, and so I was able to be at home and sort of be flexible with my schedule and move things around as I wanted to. And I really wanted to have a really deeply restorative postpartum, which I really think that this period is supposed to be. Again, the language that we use around pregnancy and birth and postpartum is really important. And it's physical, it's emotional, it is spiritual. It is this whole gigantic shift for a woman, for a mother, and for a family. And when we don't tend to it and support it and show up for this period and kind of try and bypass it, then we lose out on the benefits, and we are just kind of in this nervous system heightened phase as we're trying to heal and integrate this entirely new season of our lives. And in my experience, 9 months in now, my daughter's 9 months old, 9.5 months, and I'm looking back on this last 9 months of my journey, and it wasn't perfect by any means, but it was certainly soft. It was nourishing. It was internal. It was connecting. It was really deep, and it was really, really beautiful. And I think that if we can all allow ourselves this opportunity in whatever way it looks like for you, then we can show up in the world with less fear, anxiety, depression. We can really harness this period of our lives to move us into the next stage. And I think what that looks like, or what that looked like for me, is that my husband was on paternity leave for the whole he just went back to work last month or 2 months ago. So he was on paternity leave for 8 months. That is not something that everybody gets. I understand that. But it did allow me to see that help within the home is so entirely crucial, especially in those first couple of weeks. Because for me, what those first couple of weeks looked like, so we brought our baby into the world. We immediately, had a snack and went to sleep in our own bed. And it was beautiful. We woke up in our own home, in our own comfort. So I was able to really just be there with my baby. I could wear as little clothing as I wanted to, so we could do skin to skin. I could lounge in bed. I could, be in the living room if I wanted to. So the first couple of weeks, we didn't have any visitors for, I want to say a week to 10 days. I forget now, but it was within that realm. And we had nobody over. We had, lots of FaceTimes and conversations and stuff, but we really wanted to keep it quiet and intimate and allow our family to just integrate as a family of 4. And it was really beautiful. My husband was there my partner was there to make sure that I had water, that I had snacks, that if I wanted to have a bath, I could go do that. If I wanted to spend some time with my older daughter, I could do that. So with that, I wasn't thrown into this, here you go, period of postpartum. I was able to rest and allow my body to heal, because in those first couple of weeks, for me, there was a lot of tears, there was a lot of emotions, there was a lot of adjustments. My milk was coming in, breastfeeding was extremely painful, and I was being pulled in all of these different directions. And with having the help within the home, and so we talk about this this village, and it's really, really true. And again, it might look different for everybody. That might look like somebody coming over every day for a couple of hours. That might look like somebody living in and staying with you for a while. That might look like your partner staying home from work for a longer period of time. But I really see and visualize this next phase, this next generation, this next era of parenting and postpartum in particular, is that we actually have that help. We don't just talk about it. We don't talk about having the mom groups. We don't just pretend oh, we're going to do a meal train and these sorts of things, which is helpful. There's a meal train is incredibly helpful, but we actually need the help inside the home, to somebody to clean up, so that I'm available to sit there with my baby. Because not only am I just, under a baby, we don't let's not denounce the fact that I'm healing from an incredibly taxing experience on the body. It's very, very tiring. There's a lot of healing that happens, both internally, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, externally. All of these things are happening, and I'm able to simply be there with that experience with my new baby while everything else gets taken care of around me. And I think that is so needed and not talked about enough. It's not just bring over a meal, even though that is so helpful, but we have to make sure that we are supporting ourselves in a real way and supporting each other in a real way. And so that's why, maybe you hire a postpartum doula. Maybe that's why you hire, somebody, or you ask a family member to stay, or your partner again stays home, because that it was so crucial to my healing, was to have that available to me. And I feel so lucky that I did have that. But now I look back on it and I think, in comparison to my first experience, my husband was home for maybe 2 weeks, but we decided to have visitors over immediately. We were out. I was like, oh, I better get out and do this stuff. I better go shopping. I better go for a walk. Even though I wasn't fully healed and all of these things, I was trying to kind of step back into my old life just with my baby. And I think a lot of us do that, specifically on the first time around. And I did not harness the postpartum period. And it was really tricky. Things like sleep were really tricky. Things like healing were really tricky. Things like really just like integrating this experience was just really tricky for me. It took me a long time to kind of, I always used to say, like, reconcile myself as a mom. Like, I couldn't, it was really hard for me the first time around. And when I allowed myself to just sink in and harness this postpartum incredible time and let my body heal, do what it needed to do, let my baby gently welcome, like, experience the world, its new world, let my family connect to each other. It was so integral, and I really think that this is so important to the future of what our families are doing for and with each other, and how we plan for our postpartum periods, and not just like fill your freezer, get a padsicle, like the things that are helpful but not deep enough to really support the levels of your being through this. And so just to give you an idea of what my postpartum looked like, it looked like a lot of drinking tea. I made a lot of teas, which felt so good. I rested when I wanted to. I was barely clothed because I was in like my bra and underwear, I think. And I just wanted like the baby on me. I didn't put her in diapers or dress her for like up to a week. We were like wrapping her in cloth, like the burp cloths for her diaper, because I just didn't want anything synthetic on her body. And it was like really emotional for me to actually put clothing on her. So we just literally, it was just her and I, like skin to skin for like a week, and it felt really beautiful. And then finally I was ready to, okay, we can put her in something to get out of the house. Again, we didn't have visitors. It was literally just the family. And then Ava, my eldest daughter, she had, we kind of organized some activities for her every day that either her and my husband could go do together, or she could go to, so that she was busy and engaged, because that was a real challenge, because it's a really slow period and we have a toddler, wanting to play and your attention and all that. So it was helpful to have something scheduled and there for her if she wanted to go. What else? I just wrote down a few things. I just want to really also hone in on this period of like having somebody there to just fill your water. And that might sound like really simple and like, okay, you can get up to fill your water. But again, it's not just like getting water is inconvenient because I'm under a baby. I'm not just nap trapped here. Like, this isn't just that. It's that I do not have the energy for that. I am exhausted, and it's my body is healing. And so if we can take away those little moments and support the mother through those little moments, support ourselves through those little moments, maybe that's not a person filling your water. Maybe you have 3 water bottles, where you're supposed to be, or whatever that looks like for you. But it's really important to remember that your body doesn't want to be anywhere but with you and baby. And you need to be taken care of. You need to be nurtured, because you are everything to that baby right now. And that's where you need to be. And I always think about this, like, what happens in the wild? Like, what happens to, I don't know, like, they're just, I just imagine these like bears just with their cubs for a couple of days or whatever. I don't know. I could be wrong. But I just wonder, like, what does my primal body want? And my primal body really wanted to be just with my baby and have it dark and intimate and gentle and soft. And to me, that looked like no visitors. That looked like a little bit of sunshine on my face. If it was sunny that day, I could stick my face at the window until I was ready to go for a walk. I think that's all I wanted to say on the subject. Just really key that the future of families is going to have to look different. We are going to have to accept this idea of, we're going to have to look beyond like, oh, I only get so much leave, or my job only allows, or I can only take. We have to recreate our family systems and our family dynamics so that we can have this period. Because if there's one thing that I say, is that this postpartum period is non-negotiable. We have to, if we want to mother from a place of home and mother from a place of truth and mother from a place of primal ability, so that our children can grow into a world that is open and kind and supportive and, really at home with who we are as human beings and what we were meant to be and do here, then we need to honor and support this postpartum period. It is non-negotiable. It is non-negotiable in my idea. And I will leave it there. But I would love to know if you have any questions, comments. You can comment below if you're watching on YouTube, or you can also send us an email, hello@homecoming.com. You can DM us on Instagram. You're going to get me directly, Brianna, and I look forward to hearing from you. I would love to know your experience. Is this something that you experienced? Did you lean into the postpartum period? Do you want to next time? What does that look like for you? Anyway, thank you for watching.